Good afternoon. I'm Officer Hamlin with Officer Doug Hacker and Officer Jack Dougherty. We are your school resource officers here at Northmont City Schools. We want to congratulate everybody on doing a great job today. Everything really went well, and all the students acted appropriately and did a great job, and we do appreciate all your cooperation. So there's numerous questions. We're going to try to get through them today for you and get you some answers. Go ahead, Officer Dougherty.
We'll start with the first one. We got a lot of questions about why do we get on school buses. The Northmont City School safety plan with the buses, the reason why we board the buses is we take you off the property to a location. From that location is where we call your parents and get you rides home. That piece of property is not public record, so we don't tell anyone, but we do have a place where we do take the students and the staff once we leave the stadium area.
I got this one. Where can we find the red safety kits in the school? There are 4 red safety kits in the school. There's one by the main office, one by the art rooms, one by Mr. Sabaka's room, and one upstairs near 203 or the study hall. Those kits are there, and we're trying to get a few more. Officer Hacker.
All right. Have any of you officers experienced a real lockdown? At the schools, no.
How long does it take police respond to an active shooter? At Northmont Junior High and High School, we have officers on the scene, so there'll be an officer immediately on the scene. Outside officers would be here between 1 and 4 minutes.
When walking out of the building, why is it important to walk out with your eyes covered? So when you're in the building, we just wanted you to shield your eyes as you're walking out. But once you're outside, you can take your hand down and uncover your eyes. We're just trying to shield you from anything inside the building.
Why didn't you do more practice while we were in lockdown so we could hear running chaos in the hallway? And basically today is because of limited time. We only had so much time to do the drill, so we had to take some of this stuff out. But I'm guessing in the future that will be incorporated into the training.
What do we do if a shooter is upstairs shooting the doors? Our doors are pretty safe. If a shooter is up there shooting at the doors, stay locked down, stay in your position, and police will be responding to the scene.
Why do we shield our eyes when leaving the building? Again, we just want you to shield your eyes while you're in the hallway to prevent you from seeing anybody may be injured, and also if there's anything floating around in the air to also help protect your eyes. Once you're outside the building, you can take your hands down from your eyes.
I didn't hear any blanks being shot. When did that happen? That happened as soon as they said that there was an active shooter in the building. The actors, or the shooters, shot off a few rounds, and then when the officers engaged them, they fired off a few rounds. But you have to understand, they're not as loud as the real thing.
The reason why it says, why didn't we learn CPR? CPR, to be certified in CPR, is a certain amount of hours. Our limited training today only gave us a certain amount of time. That's why we chose the just basic first aid.
If I was to get separated from a staff member and I ran out of the building during a shooter situation, where should I go? I would say run far as you can from the building. Either run back toward the woods or run toward the CLEPS, YMCA.
Why did we just make a circle on the bus? Where would we go if the evacuation was real? You just went on a circle on the bus because we just wanted the bus drivers and you to get used to getting on the buses during an evacuation. So again, limited time. We just did a short route, and it says, where would we go if the evacuation was real? We're not going to tell you that, and that's for security reasons. But when that would happen, if we had to do that, then we would let you know where we were going.
And that information would be put out on a one call, and also the news media would be putting that information out too. So your parents would know where to pick you up at.
Next question. Today was good practice. Could we do more realistic training with students not knowing? Yes. Remember, this is our first active training with students involved. Throughout the next several years, we'll be doing more training, getting the students and the staff more involved.
Next question was, why wasn't there more medical training besides tourniquets? Tourniquets are an integral part of bleeding control, so if we teach people how to put on tourniquets and stop bleeding or slow bleeding, we're better off to help people save lives. No, I don't know. Go down to the
I
next one.
skipped it.
Yeah.
What do you do if you're in the hallway during a shooting? Run the opposite way, right? Get out and leave the victim-rich environment.
Jack.
Where do we go in case the threat occurs while changing classes? Go to the immediate classroom you're closest to. Go right into the room that you're standing by, just run in there, and the staff member there will lock down any students inside that door.
Can we practice more often than once a quarter? We're going to have some more drills coming up. We're going to institute a run, hide, fight presentation, which we're going to be going around and doing to all the classrooms district-wide coming up here in the next few months. We're also going to incorporate some more first aid training, too, in health classes and gym class. If a shooter...
It says, if the shooter is still in the building and we can't get out of the building, should we
Pretend to play dead.
pretend to play dead? I guess if that's the only choice you have, yeah. I would say if you're in your rooms and you're barricaded, stay there. If it's safe to stay where you're at, stay where you're at.
I got this one, Jack. Why do we need to put arms on each other while leaving the building? That's to keep accountability of everybody, to make sure you're with the student in front of you and the student behind you is. In an incident where this place could be full of smoke, we could be taking you out through a smoke-filled hallway, or the fire alarms could be going off. We want to make sure that everybody's accounted for. So that's why we know that we have all the students when we're going out of the building.
I think the next question is, stay in the bathroom, in the stall, stay in the toilet. I think what they want to know is, if you're in the restroom when a lockdown happens and you're in the stall, what should you do? If you can't get out of the building or into a classroom safely, stay in the stall, put your feet up where someone can't see that someone's in there, and lock the door.
You got that one. What do you see?
Yeah, I just lost it, though. What do you do if you see someone with a gun in the hallway? Do you try to take it from them and run away? Absolutely not. Run. If you see somebody in the hallway with a gun, run from them. Let one of the staff members know. Let one of your SRO know. But I don't suggest that you try to take it from them.
Where are we at?
35.
35, Jack.
If you had someone...
If you had someone hurt in the classroom, how would you get them help faster from EMS? Our staff will notify the main office. The main office will what we call a command center. Our command center would be set up outside with police and fire chiefs. That staff member would notify the administration, who would notify officers on the scene, where we could bring in a tactical medic team to that room.
And to follow up with that, during this training today, we did have tactical medical teams from the fire department here, also with bulletproof vests and helmets, and their job is to come in during the situation and help treat the wounded. Why do people
become active shooters? There's several reasons out there. Mental health issues right now, availability of weapons, and things like that is what the experts are telling us.
That's kind of the same question.
Yeah.
Go down to 41.
Well, no, 40 was...
41.
If a bomb threat happens at the middle school and the high school evacuate, so what it's saying, if there's a bomb threat at the middle school, does the high school evacuate? What we try to do in a bomb threat, if it's a credible bomb threat, we will eliminate. We try to stay 1,000 feet away. So the high school will definitely go into a shelter in place until the officers and bomb dogs arrive on the scene and clear the building.
Let's back up, though. They've got number 40 says, what should we do if we see a weapon on the ground during an active active shooting? At that point, we're guessing that they've either dropped it or the active shooter has been dealt with. My suggestion is you don't pick that gun up, because when we come in, we're not going to know that you're not the one that was the problem. And if you have that gun in your hand, that could be that could make you a target. So my suggestion is, if you have time, cover it with a trash can, cover it with something, but don't pick it up.
And let somebody know.
Yep, let somebody know.
What is the first step for an officer when there is an active shooter? Our first step would be to notify our dispatch and let them know that we have an active shooter in the building. We have buttons on our radio that we can push it, which opens our mics up, and we can make an announcement to that. Also, I'll radio the office and have them dial 911 and instigate the lockdown procedures. Oh, we already did that one.
We did that one.
If there's an active shooter, is playing dead a good strategy?
We covered that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far did it take us away?
If you are bleeding or
That's good.
injured. Yeah. If you are bleeding or injured, should we help someone else who is more severely injured?
If you're in a classroom, that's kind of how we had the first aid today, the training stations. If you're in a classroom and the doors are locked, you're in lockdown, and you have someone in there bleeding, yes, it's okay to help them to try to stop the bleeding. That was kind of what we started with today with our basic first aid.
But having said that, if you're bleeding, then you obviously you got to take care of yourself first, because if you lose a lot of blood and you pass out, you can't help anybody else. So depending on how bad your wounds are, you may have to treat yourself first.
If there is a school shooter and we run, are there consequences? Where should we run? If you run out the door, we have several places you can run to. My suggestion is we run at least a mile away. There's the YMCA. If you run to the west of the school, you can run to the post office on Talmadge Road. If you run out the back of there's a fire station down there at Crestway. Here's their consequences. You know, I don't believe there are going to be consequences because we know you're going to be safe. As soon as you get to one of those three locations, notify an adult there. The adult will call the police department. They'll give us your name. We'll know you're okay.
What do you do if you're outside when there are shots fired? Don't re-enter the building. Run away from the building and notify somebody where you're at so we can get an account of where you're at and get somebody to you.
Do we have to wait for an officer to escort us out, or if we see we can escape, can we leave? You absolutely can leave. If it's safe for you to leave, you leave. If it's safe to stay where you're at, then stay where you're at.
It would depend on the incident, too.
Well, yeah, but
Good. Jack.
Barricade recommendations, where do we sit in the room? We recommend that you sit away from the door and any window. And there's an area that you can look in the window and see in. That's the area that we don't want you. We want you sitting in the area that you can't look in a window and see. It's usually against the wall, and sit down, stay low.
And we're going to discuss that in some up-and-coming training also. Again, students can make it in the classroom if they just run out of the building. We did have
Yep.
about 13 more minutes. What is this?
what if they come in through the windows?
What if the intruder came in through the windows? Jack.
If you're standing in a classroom and you see someone walking up towards your classroom carrying a gun, then your teacher will notify office, will go into lockdown. That teacher will take you into another room. They have keys to all the rooms. And then we'll go into lockdown and get you away from that classroom that they're coming to.
No.
Would the tennis courts be a meeting spot if there was an active shooter? No. The stadium is where we will evacuate you to. Every student will be evacuated to the stadium, and then from the stadium we will take you to a point where we'll get you back to your parents and notify everybody.
But prior to us evacuating to the stadium, we're going to sweep the stadium itself to make sure it is secure before we would take you out there.
That's a repeat.
Would it be safe to have doors on the restroom?
What is the protocol? What is the protocol if the office members are unable to begin the lockdown process? In this district, anybody can call the lockdown process, so it doesn't have to be your principal. And just remember, if you see something, say something. That's huge. Just don't do anything. If you see something that's a problem, let somebody know. You're not going to get in trouble for that.
What do you do? We already answered that. What do you do?
Fire alarm is pulled.
What do we do if you're in lockdown and the fire alarm is pulled? You stay in place. You do not leave the school if you're in lockdown and the fire alarm's been pulled.
Remember, once you're in lockdown, we're going to evacuate you from the building room by room, a lot like we did today. Again,
would repeat.
the only thing we can put out there is if you see something, you have to say something. Report it to the staff, report it to one of the SROs, report it to your teacher, anybody. Just see something, say something.
You hear something, say something. Somebody's talking, you see something on social media, whatever it is. It's better to say something and let us look into it than not to say anything, and then, something could possibly happen. So don't ever be afraid to say something. And that stays between you and us. We don't have to tell everybody your business.
It's not about being labeled a snitch. It's not
Right.
about being labeled telling on somebody. It's about making sure that we're all safe. And together we can make sure that all of us are safe here while we're at school.
Yeah, and if people are talking like that about doing things that hurt themselves or somebody else, you got to let somebody know so that we can help them also. It's not just about your safety, it's about everybody's safety.
Okay, looks like all our questions.
All our questions.
Staff and students, you guys did a great job today. Thank you. It's a learning process for not only the school, but also for first responders.
And if you have any further questions, just let us know. Talk to Mr. Broomball or myself or any of the staff members, or get the questions to me, and I'll be glad to answer them for you. And again, thank you for all your participation today.